Yeah, so a lot of people have this idea that quantitative easing was about bailing out the banks. And so she said, well, we bailed out the banks with quantitative easing, so we need a people's QE. QE for the people, which is let's bail the people out, including students, okay, with a student loan debt relief. Um, the analogy is just completely wrong. QE was not about bailing out the banks. QE was, I think, a very misguided policy that resulted from the Fed under Ben Bernanke not understanding what they do. What they wanted to do was to lower long-term interest rates, thinking they could reboot another mortgage bubble, which, you know, in itself is a stupid idea. But they thought they could lower long-term interest rates with the Fed pumping bank reserves into the system, buying government bonds from the banks, and then eventually they moved on to buying mortgage-backed securities. Well, it didn't work. All it did was reduce bank earnings a little bit. They used to earn, say, 3, 4, 5% on government bonds. Now they're earning 25 basis points, which is just 0.25 of 1%, holding reserves. It just reduced their profitability. It didn't stimulate the economy at all. It didn't bail them out. If anything, it made them less profitable. So QE was not a bank bailout. We had already bailed out the banks. We didn't bail them out with QE. We bailed them out with an alphabet soup of special facilities that occurred before QE. Okay, so we did bail out the banks. That was right, but it wasn't QE. Okay, so it was the wrong analogy. And I think the idea that we need to provide student debt relief, we need to provide mortgage relief, foreclosures, we still have a storm of foreclosures, people losing their homes, which has disastrous effects on those families, but also on the communities. When you have foreclosed homes that are sitting there vacant, being vandalized and so on, it's just a tremendous mess. We need the relief, but it's not difficult to do the relief. You don't do it through the Fed. You do it through the Treasury. This is an appropriate role for fiscal policy to play, which is to, in some way or other, provide the debt relief. I did talk to Jill Stein, and I think I got her agreement, which was that we run it through the Treasury. It's on the budget. We allocate a certain number of hundreds of billions of dollars a year to provide the relief. What we can do if we want to is have the Treasury buy the student loans, okay, and then just write them off. Say you are forgiven. Jill Stein preferred to forgive all the student loans. My preference was to do it on the basis of the paying capacity of the students who are in debt, or the former students who are in debt. To me, that makes more sense than just forgiving all of it. And then you need a policy going forward. How will we provide the funds for education going forward? The way that we did it in the past is not sustainable. You can't have people graduating from college with $50,000 to $100,000 in debt. It just makes no sense to run your educational system that way. So